What is the weirdest fact you know? Switzerland does not have a single official head of state. It is a council of 7 people. We call them the 7 dwarfs. R/Switzerland is fake. 7 rings to the dwarves in their halls made of stone. 7 were given to the Swiss lords, great miners and craftsmen of the mountains. Frogs swallow using their eyes. Video explaining it. Very cool fact. Bullish on frogs. What the actual heck? If you've ever seen a frog eat something, they close their eyes as they swallow. They're using their eyes and eye muscles to push food down their little throats. Bees like to play. Scientists put bees in a box thing under stress-free conditions with a few wooden round balls scattered about to see what would happen. There are videos of this experiment, and the bees just climb all over these wooden spheres, rolling them around happily. It's the cutest thing. Edit. The videos are very easy to find, but for everyone asking for the link. One bee in particular from this very experiment came back and played with a ball 40 times in one day. It had the best time of its life. Every single thing I learn about bees makes me like them more. The males, well, the lucky ones anyway, only get to mate one time, in mid-air, then they drop dead mid-flight. I just disappeared down a rabbit hole going after bees playing. Had to see it for myself. If you looked at 1 star per second, it would take you over 3,000 years to look at all the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. And there are 20 times the number of galaxies in the universe as there are stars in our Milky Way. This space place seems pretty big, you know that? If you place hamster wheels in the forest, mice will run on them for fun. That's actually pretty wholesome and a fun fact. I'm going to start a line of biodegradable hamster wheels to sell to hippies. Thank you. Roald Dahl's last words were "ow fuck. I can't believe you've done this." The best part of this one is the context. He had prepared some lovely and touching last words, which he did indeed successfully say to his family at the appropriate time. You know, I'm not frightened, it's just that I will miss you all so much. Then, when he had apparently fallen unconscious, the nurse injected him with morphine to ease his passing. The still alive Dahl stirred and uttered his actual last words. Ow, fuck. Famous last words to live by. Wait a minute. Gary Newman is 2 weeks older than Gary Oldman. If you Google for Gary Oldman, don't forget the R. That is solid life advice. Manatees aren't fat, they're round. Many mammals develop a layer of fat or blubber to preserve body heat. Manatees are tropical mammals and do not need a lot of body fat. Hippopotamus also only have around 2% body fat, which is lower than professional bodybuilders normally get for competition. Which is why they are a lot faster than they seem, and can easily split you in half in one bite. And they fart to sink. Booby trap backwards is party boob. Boob backwards is boob. Boob mirrored is dude. Dude upside down is poop. Stressed backwards is desserts. Platypus glow when you hit them with UV light. That seems a bit extreme. Could you not just shine the UV light on them instead? Edit. Wow, I'm truly humbled. Thank you, Team Reddit. Gold. And they glow teal green. Coincidence? I think not. He's a semi-aquatic, egg-laying mammal of action. If you shave a tiger, it will still be stripy. And angry, very, very angry. You mean the skin has stripes? And anger issues. On a similar note, polar bears are black underneath their fur. In recent times, more people have become aware of the story of the SS Daniel J. Morrell, a Great Lakes ship that broke in half, and people on the front section thought they saw another ship coming to rescue them, but it was in fact the rear section approaching them under power. What people seldom learn is that, when the wreck pieces were discovered, the lifeboats of the rear section weren't deployed in the apparently 3 hours that it continued to steam along before sinking, thus leading analysts to conclude that the staff in the rear section had no idea the ship had even broken apart until it sank. How do you not notice that the ship you're on is broken in half? Seems rather difficult to do. Just looking it up, it was a 600 feet long steam freighter that broke up in heavy storms. That's long as fuck. And a storm heavy enough to do that damage would be really loud, I imagine. To add to this fact, there was only one survivor from that whole shipwreck. Ancient Greek Olympic runners, competing nude, would either wear a small cover over the tip of their penis or would tie their foreskin closed in order to avoid the embarrassment of accidentally exposing their glans, head. An exposed glans was considered a faux pas in Greek athleticism. It suggested erection. It's also the reason that Jewish high priests developed the circumcision we know today, which isn't actually biblical. Originally, circumcision was just a blood rite that removed the tip of the foreskin and left the glands mostly covered. But during the diaspora of 140 AD, Jews were turning up in Greek gymnasiums and stretching their foreskin out a bit so they didn't look like outsiders, or erect. The Jewish authorities were terrified that this would lead to greater socializing, and to intermarriage with the Greeks. Small populations can be quickly wiped out by intermarriage. So they changed the circumcision rite to the drastic, damaging practice that we know today, even though its purpose is long gone. Ah yes, gotta keep it modest while running naked. Is it really all that much weirder than pasties to cover the nipples, and only the nipples? Your dog looks into your eyes and soul when taking a shit because it's looking up to you for protection in its most valuable moment. Edit, yes I meant vulnerable, y'all are correct on that. I was high as a giraffe's pussy last night trying to make this comment. Another fun one about dogs is that when they sleep with their back to yours, that means they trust you to watch their BSCK as you sleep and they've got yours in return. When my dog takes a shit or pees, I actually always make sure to face in the opposite direction from where my dog is facing and scan our surroundings in a you do your business, I've got this covered way. I swear it helped to build trust and respect. Greater than when my dog takes a shit or pees, I actually always make sure to face in the opposite direction from where my dog is facing and scan our surroundings in a you do your business, I've got this covered way. I swear it helped to build trust and respect. This is also my experience. My dog would hate it when I looked at him when he was trying to drop a hammer, to the point that he'd stop and move on if he thought I was looking at him. When I turned my back on him he knew I had him covered from behind while he had his front side taken care of. Like you say, it built a trust. Rosa Parks could have seen Shrek in theaters. I did a project on her when I was in 5th grade in spring 2005. I wrote her a letter but never ended up sending it. She ended up dying October 2005. Somebody once told me to sit in the back of the bus. When you get a kidney transplant they leave the old ones in unless there's a reason to remove them, cancer etc. I currently have 5, 2 original, 2 failed transplants, 1 functioning transplant. On this episode of Hoarders. Are the non-functional ones not necrotic? KFC follows 11 people on Twitter, the 5 former Spice Girls and 6 guys named Herb. Please let this one be true. Edit, just looked it up. It's true, that's golden. Greater than that's golden. Fried perfection with our amazing blend of 11 herbs and spices. Get 2 pieces with a side and a biscuit for just $5. Also, when someone first noticed this about their Twitter account, KFC commissioned an oil painting of the person riding on the back of Colonial Sanders while holding a drumstick. The flower yarrow has the Latin name Achillea. It's called that because it's supposed to be the herb that soldiers used to try and stop Achilles' heel from bleeding at the Battle of Troy in the Iliad. Spoiler: he died. All I know about yarrow is that it's found around Lemoyne and New Hanover. It's a very flowery plant and will shimmer with a glittery glow when viewed with eagle eye. If you eat it raw it replenishes health. I tip my hat to you, partner. The Iliad is called that because Ilium was the local name for what we now call Troy, and the suffix ad means the story of, so in modern English, the Iliad literally translates as Troy story. Flamingos can drink boiling water. Anything or anyone can drink boiling water. It just won't be a whole load of fun. Other fun fact, you can go the rest of your life without food or water. So, flamingos can make ramen in their mouths if they wanted to. Jealous. Apparently, the way children start to hate their parents in puberty is an evolutionary way to prevent incest. That actually makes sense. Just like babies are cute so we actually take care of them. Dude, my wife and I just had a baby a month ago and the dopamine rush every time I pick him up and hold him close is insane. Alabama didn't get the memo. During mating a male anglerfish will fuse with a larger female, allowing them to share not only sperm but also blood and skin. They become one amalgamated abomination that haunts the deep for the period of mating. Edit, it's a deep-sea anglerfish, not a hagfish. Different nightmare. That's deep-sea anglerfish. Oh, there's that thing about bluebottle jellyfish too. They're not a single animal, they're a colony of 4 things stuck together. They look like it too. The largest man-made pyramid in the world is in Mexico. Isn't the second biggest a base pro shop? Who made the pyramids that are not man-made? Cleopatra? Elephants can't jump. They're the only mammal that can't. They're also the only one with 4 knees. Blue whales? Blue whales do not have any knees. Opel hides small sharks in the interior design of some of their cars. Time to boycott Opel for animal cruelty. Many brands do similar stuff. Dodge has a small plaque on their Ram TRX of a T-Rex killing a Raptor to signify it beating its rival, Ford F-150 Raptor. Jeep have a small sticker on their windshield of a Willys Jeep. The McDonald's Big Mac has the same amount of calories as the average horse ejaculation when swallowed. So that's why I can't lose weight. Yeah, quit eating all those Big Macs. You'll burn extra calories blowing a horse. You win. Lol. In Germany you can get sentenced to up to 10 years in prison for causing a nuclear explosion. Why does that seem lenient? Guess it's more about mishandling a nuclear power station rather than setting off an actual bomb. Bees can experience time like we do. TLDR, scientists discovered this through witnessing them having jet lag. Moths, however, don't get jet lag. In most languages, people think of the future as in front of them and the past as behind them. So we think of ourselves as moving forward in time. It's such an ingrained metaphor that we don't even think about it. But there are a couple of outliers, languages where the past is in front and the future is behind. In at least one of these languages, someone explained that the past is in front because you can see it. You know what was in your past, but the future is a mystery you can't see, just like you can't see what's behind you. I read an article about Coco the gorilla, and other primates taught sign language. They viewed time the same way. The past is in front of you because you can see it in your memory. The future can't be seen, so it's behind you. So while humans make plans, we're going to go places and make things happen, and face into the plan, gorillas just let events pass by them. Like rowing a boat, we enter the future backwards. All we see are scenes of the past, and one cannot see the views of tomorrow. Pandas poop, on average, 40 times a day. And about 62 pounds in weight, due to bamboo diet. Ah, so I'm a panda? I tried going vegan once and this happened to me too. In the early 1700s, a common form of American torture was to tie someone up so that they were face down, ass up, cut of their genitals, toss them in the fire, then shove them into their mouth burning. 100% recommend the British Museum of Torture. I think Method Man and Raekwon taught me this. IFKN, IFKNN. Face up is better for feeding. That the French word for vagina is masculine. And the slang term for penis, la bite, is feminine. Love a good bit of schlong slang. The word for girl in German is neutral, just like child and baby. Sharks are older than trees. Sharks are older than the rings of Saturn. Younger than the mountains. Blowing like a breeze. Human skin can't actually feel wetness, we just make assumptions on pressure and temperature. I tried flotation/sensory deprivation tank, once, and it was so weird. The only reason I knew I was in water was because of the pressure. Also I felt weightless as if in space. Pitch black inside a tank, high salt contained water which makes you float. Temperature adjusted, match your body temp equals feels like floating in 0 G. Do recommend. Great fact, I've often noticed my hands still feel wet even when using thin latex or vinyl gloves for certain tasks. This must explain that. You ever touch clothes, and you can't tell if they're cold or wet? That's the same thing too. Marco Polo saw an unicorn while at Kublai Khan's court. Researcher would later figure out that he probably saw an rhinoceros. Unicorn are fat rhino. Rhinos are armored unicorns. People can smell rain 4x stronger than sharks can smell blood. Petrichor. When male bees orgasm, their balls explode. That's nuts. Honey, nut, Cheerio. In the animal kingdom, there is a type of jellyfish called the immortal jellyfish, scientifically known as Turritopsis dohrnii. What makes it fascinating is its ability to revert back to its earliest form after reaching adulthood. When facing environmental stress or old age, it can transform its cells, essentially returning to a polyp stage and then growing into a new adult jellyfish. This process can theoretically repeat indefinitely, hence the name immortal jellyfish. While it's not truly immortal in the sense of living forever, it has an exceptional regenerative capability that allows it to bypass the typical life cycle limitations of other organisms. It's worth noting that it is biologically immortal. It just can't ever achieve that because they are food for other animals. Also, they're able to age backwards through transdifferentiation, in which adult cells revert back into stem cells so that they can become juvenile cells. If we can understand how they do that, it would likely help cure a bunch of different cancers. If we could understand how they do it, and make it functional, we could essentially repair our organs whenever we wanted, essentially replenishing our bodies every few years with fresh organs. Broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage and Brussels sprouts are all the same plant cultivated for different characteristics. That's cool and strange, yet they taste so different. I mean, a leaf and would taste different. I didn't know this. No wonder I hate them all equally. Karl XII almost caused a political crisis with Russia when he, in the middle of an important diplomatic talk, suddenly disappeared one night without a trace. After several hours of frantic searching, raised voices and accusations, a stable boy revealed what had happened. The king had simply decided that he didn't want to waste any more time with pointless discussions and gone back to Sweden without informing anyone. Do note that the main topic of discussion was the potential marriage between Karl XII and the Russian princess, so, ouch. If you had to listen to your parents say goodbye to your extended family for 2 hours as a kid, this exit is your favorite. I don't know, guys, maybe he's in the bathroom? The national animal of Scotland is a unicorn. I knew those bastards were hiding them somewhere up there. Millions of horses died in World War I. This was due to the fact that automotive transportation wasn't all there yet, despite biplanes being used for bombing/dart dropping for the first time. Pair this with the fact it was the first war with center-fire rifle cartridges and it spelled devastation. Many cavalry units who were once the elites and best of the best in war were like, fuck it, we are the best, these center-fire rifles won't affect us. Boy, were they wrong. To add on to this, I'm not entirely sure if it was Vietnam or World War II or both, but there was a period of time where basically any dog that could function as an attack dog were drafted like young men in America. Tons of families lost their pets and never got them back, and rather than trying to at least find the owners of the dogs that survived, the military put most of them down to avoid the hassle. It's also estimated 2 to 5 million horses, donkeys and mules died in World War II. They still used them a lot in World War II. During the American Civil War, it was an unspoken rule to never shoot a man while he was taking a shit, cause of how severe stomach viruses and diseases were during the time. I'd go about you guys, but if it were me, I'd be shitting at every battlefield in whatever theater I was in, lol. What's the logic behind that though? Don't shoot them since it was so severe that they will probably die anyway? So, my IBS could save my life in wartime. Glossy magazine paper has a higher B vitamin content than newsprint. So the next time you eat your words, opt for glossy. Betelgeuse is so massive it would contain the Sun, and the orbits of Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars and Jupiter. It also takes about 30 years to make one revolution. One day is 30 Earth years. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. I'll give 2. The Tale of Genji, usually considered to be the world's first novel, not to be confused with Don Quixote, the first modern novel, is over 1,000 years old. China is all under one time zone officially, Beijing time, to be specific, which means that all the way in the west of the country, the sun rises around 10 a.m. Greater than China is all under one time zone officially. So is India. Didn't know that, though they only span 2, I think, time zones as opposed to China's 5. Across Manhattan, between 13th and 41st, at approximately 60 underground, there's a massive 20-deep quartz layer with golden veins running through it. I know because I'm a geologist who does rock sampling. I know more if you guys are interested. AMA and I'll try. Very cool. Subscribe to Manhattan Golden Veined Quartz Facts. Have you been there? What's it like? Have I been where? 60 underground inside a 4 inches hole? Nope, but thank you for the offer. The actor who played the dad from Alf enjoyed smoking crack and having sex with homeless men. Will.ie. Max Wright certainly had his demons. A journeyman actor, he returned to the stage after ALF and was nominated for a Tony in 1998. He was arrested twice afterwards for DUI, and in 2001, a National Enquirer story ran featuring pictures of him smoking crack with suspected male prostitutes. He and other ALF actors complained about shooting the series, although impossible to tell from viewing. The set was actually built on a platform so that the puppet could pop up through the floor. This made shooting rather dangerous as there were literal trap doors all over the set. Apparently Paul Fusco, the creator, puppeteer and voice actor for ALF, was also very difficult to work with as he saw himself as the star of the show and also wrote, directed, and produced on the show.